This week, we get to meet Sylvester Barzey, award-winning horror author. We talk about sisterly love, a family of scaredy cats, and how can you have a conversation with a horror author without talking the Twilight Zone. All that and more, so stick around and see what else Damon does. DJ PRhyme, play the music. Welcome to Damon Does Conversations with Creatives. It's your nerd space safe place and where you may find your new fave. I am Damon, father of two, husband of one, and leader of this here Demodcast. My next guest is an award-winning horror author. He's a first-generation American veteran from the Bronx who left the year before Comic-Con started in New York and is justifiably salty. Ladies and gentlemen, or wherever you are on the non-binary spectrum, make some noise for Sylvester Barzey!
All right, that was cool. That was definitely one of my better intros, and I'm happy that we talked about Comic Con because I feel like no one feels my pain.
I would be when you sent me that, I lost it. I'm like, I can't imagine. I would, yeah, I'm justifiably salty. I meant that. That was commentary.
Yeah, because I was growing up with my little nerdy self in New York, decided to go to college, and then I'm like on Facebook one year and I see all my friends talking about they going to New York Comic Con. I was like, New York, what? I was mad. I was so mad. Everybody was going. People that I didn't even know was interested. They were all there. I was like, okay.
Oh,
One day
now nerding's cool. Fine.
I'll
Thank you for taking time out to talk to a perfect stranger. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for allowing me to be on here, for putting out that request to Black creatives. I'm excited to do this.
Me too. Now, before we get into a probably creative conversation, where would you like to be found on the internet?
I'm always like in and out of social media because I tend to fall down rabbit holes of arguing with very unintelligent people. So sometimes I take a lot of breaks, but normally you can find me on Instagram or Threads.
All right, Sylvester, are you ready to have a creative conversation?
I'm ready.
When did you know you wanted to be a writer?
I feel like a lot of people like kind of say like, "Oh, I've known since I started reading and started writing," but I really didn't think about like making it a career until I was like in college. I used to like try and make comic books with my friends when I was younger, and I wrote like short stories with my cousins and stuff, but I wasn't the best reader or best at spelling. So I had kind of negative run-in with one of my teachers when I wrote a short story for Halloween. And she like called in the principal, and the principal thought I was getting in trouble because my story was bloody. And then she was just like, no, he can't spell. And I was like, oh my God. So I took a break from probably everything that felt creative because of that. That kind of like shell shocked me. And then when I got into college, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to put my thoughts out there. I mean, when you're in your early 20s, everybody's emotional. Everybody thinks they're the main character. So I used that opportunity to start writing again, and I fell in love with it. And, it's been uphill since then, or downhill. No, uphill. Yeah, uphill.
You got called to the office because you
Not
couldn't spell.
No, she called the principal to our classroom. So I thought when she called me out, I was like, oh, she must really like my story. I was all proud and everything. And then he was just like, oh, I see what's wrong. It's because what was it, a cat or something? I beheaded something. He was like, I see. And she's like, no, it's Halloween. Everybody's doing that. And then she was just like pointing out my spelling errors. And then I think the principal was kind of shocked at it because he was just kind of like, what do you want me to do? And so, yeah, that just kind of that popped a bubble in me for a little bit. But I got back.
It makes a great beginning of an origin story. So
That's true.
I'm with it. I'll go ahead and ask this now. Did some digging. I find it hilarious that your sisters are responsible for are responsible for your jump start into horror. I know the story, but you gotta give the people what they want. You gotta tell them the story, baby. You gotta tell them the story.
Okay. I was a scaredy cat as a kid. Like, I was not trying to mess with horror. I remember my brother came home with like 3D glasses and I was like amazed by them. And then he was like, yeah, it's from the new Elm Street. And then I was just like, no, get away from me, everything. But my sisters babysat me a lot. And I remember them being into horror because I remember seeing a lot of horror because of them. But you ask them now, they're like, oh no, I can't watch horror. I can't do this. I'm just saying, uh-huh, okay. But one night they put on Candyman, and I rationalized a lot of things in my head, I guess, to try and help me sleep. So I always had like reasons for why someone couldn't get me. Like Michael Myers is just trying to kill his family. He's not going to get me. Jason kills out of camp, except for that one time when he went to Manhattan. I've never been to camp, so I wasn't too worried about that. And then Freddie kills Elm Street kids, and that has nothing to do with me either. But when I saw Candyman, it took place in the projects, and that's where I grew up. That's where we were watching our movie from. So I was like, I was just a scared little black boy in the Bronx projects. And then there was a scene in the park with a red bathroom where the Candyman gang was. And my room in the building, I can see the park across the street from my room. And I could see that red bathroom. So, I was like, I'm gonna die. This is the end. This is the end of everything for me. And what our bathroom, for some genius reason, has the light switch on the outside. So after I was terrified, I went to go to the bathroom, and my sisters closed the door, turned off the lights, started screaming Candyman. And after I got out of my ball that I was balled up in, I had to figure out a way to not be terrified. And my solution was to seek out more horror. So yeah, Tony Todd was my personal candy, or my personal boogeyman, and really my step into horror.
Wow. That is a fantastic story.
I mean, everybody always be denying that they traumatized you. They're like, oh, that never happened.
Yeah, as an older sibling, that story sounds very believable.
Yeah. Right now, I'm working on a project called He Who Prays. It's a Southern Gothic horror set in South Carolina in the town of Denmark. That's where my in-laws all came from. So I've been down there. It has a very creepy vibe. It also has nothing to do down there. But so after watching Sinners, I was like really amped up and motivated to create something impactful and something that I could really just sink my teeth into and build for the culture and stuff. So I got the idea for He Who Prays, and it's basically I call it my Candyman because it's like I'm building this urban legend within this universe. But if you really want to get down to it, it's kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a sin in the past that needs to be discovered because people in our present are being killed off, some in your dreams, some while they're praying. Yeah. So that's what I'm currently working on. I'm trying to get the chapters like cleaned up and stuff. So my plan is to release it chapter by chapter on Substack while I work on it so my readers can see it and go along for the ride as I create
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
it.
What do you wish you had known when you had started out?
Before I answer that, I have to say I love that little segue thing that you do. I love the music. I don't know, I love it. Anyway, so what? I would like to know, or when I first started out, let's see. I don't know. I feel like when I was like growing up and when I was younger, I was always kind of like waiting for permission to do things like or approval. Like I would want my mom to be happy, or I would want just permission to chase my dreams. And I feel like I wish I knew at a younger age that you don't need permission to chase your dreams. You can just do that. Because then, I would have been ahead of the game. I would have had books written when I was like 10 or something. And then, rolling in the money. Yeah, that's one thing. I feel like you don't need permission. And if you're waiting for a yes and you're waiting for permission, you're just kind of sitting on your greatness until you decide to get up. So
We mentioned your origin story earlier. Do you have a specific point where, a specific inflection point where that happened for you?
where I decided that I can just chase my dreams. When I was in college, I started writing poems and stuff, and I would upload them on Facebook Notes. I don't even think they have that anymore, but I would upload it on like Facebook Notes, and then I started writing short stories, and my friends really liked it and stuff. But I think I got to a point where I really didn't care whether or not anybody approved of it. Probably is when I was deployed. When I was deployed, that's when I really threw myself into my writing. I was only deployed for like 9 months, but it messes with your head. So I use writing as an escape. And when I got a majority of my first book done, I was just like, I'm gonna publish this. I don't know how. I don't know the process of it all, but I'm gonna get it out there. And I just kind of made that my goal after deployment. And I tried to go the traditional route. I might try and do that maybe again in the future, but I just ended up self-publishing, and that was Planet Dead. So I started writing it in 2010. I published it in 2017, and I've been publishing ever since.
So there, he don't need y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your go-to order at your favorite hometown restaurant?
I don't think I had a hometown restaurant. Like my hometown was the Bronx. So normally it was like the pizza shop or the Chinese restaurant. I guess if those counts, it would be a slice of pepperoni pizza with red pepper flakes and a Coke, or shrimp fried rice with 5 chicken wings. So that was probably whenever I had $5, it would definitely be the Chinese restaurant. I'd get shrimp fried rice. I'm addicted to shrimp fried rice.
That question is purposefully very vague. So, is there something more recent that you like as well, or
Oh.
is that still like constant for you?
I mean, I'm still addicted to shrimp fried rice. So, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like, I guess when I think about that question, I'm thinking like, oh, it's a nice like mom and pop restaurant that you go to, and everything seems like chains nowadays. So I don't really think about it. Um, oh wait, I love Culver's. I just went there. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but I love that burger place. I just went there today. We'll stick with shrimp fried rice.
What are you curious about?
I have an extreme curiosity with knowing just if things are real or what happened. So I need to know if Bigfoot's real. I also need to know if the aliens out there know that we exist, because I'm pretty sure there's aliens out there, but do they know we're here? That's some of my questions. I would also like to know who Jack the Ripper was and who killed the Black Dahlia. Basically, I need like the answers to every big true crime event that has happened in mankind. So whenever I get up to, those gates and I talk to St. Peter, uh, that's what I'm gonna be asking for. I need the tea.
Two questions. One, have you explored any of these conspiracy theories and ideas in your writing? And two, what theories do you have that you haven't heard anywhere else?
As far as exploring things in my writing, not so much conspiracy theories. I do explore or I get inspiration from a lot of true crime things, and I explore that in my writing. Like with Camp Lanier, a lot of people like to talk about how I'm diving into Lake Lanier and talking about Oscarville and just showing the history of that. But something that a lot of people tend to overlook is that also the serial killer in there is the Atlanta Ripper, and that is a real serial killer. Like when I describe the Atlanta Ripper and I talk about his crimes, those are things that really did happen in Atlanta to the Black community. I'm a true crime junkie, and every now and then, whenever I find a way that I can slip in true crime or a little knowledge about that, then that's what I try to do. What was the second part of the question?
Do you have any do you have any conspiracy theories or ideas on like if Bigfoot's real or how the aliens feel about us or just, any of those types of things?
Okay.
Some of the things that we mentioned earlier, or none of the above, and maybe it's something out of left field.
Okay, I mean, Bigfoot is most definitely real. I feel like there's too many like forms of Bigfoot and different cultures for him not to be real. I think maybe our interpretation of what he is might be vastly incorrect, and that's why we're having trouble like locking him down. I don't know. Maybe there's a Bigfoot elephant graveyard that we don't know about. It's in a cave. I don't know. We'll find it one day. I think one conspiracy theory or like two conspiracy theories that I love and I fully believe. Since I just watched From Hell for a different podcast, it would be the connection with Jack the Ripper and the royal family. So the one conspiracy theory is that a member of the royal family married and fell in love with a prostitute and they had a baby. And so they locked her up as insane, and they locked him up too. They locked him up in like this dungeon that's in the castle or whatever, and then he escapes one night and he runs off a cliff. But the conspiracy theory is that the women that were killed by Jack the Ripper, they all knew about this baby who was potentially going to be like the heir. So the conspiracy theory is that the queen had one of their royal doctors get rid of all the witnesses. And it stretches to the point where it's like they promised him that he would one day have a descendant in the royal family, and it's supposed to stretch on to his descendant is Princess Diana. I don't know about that full strength, but I do believe that the royal family could have had something. When you say conspiracy theories out loud, it just kind of sound crazy. But I do believe they probably could have had something done with it. And another one that I liked was the Titanic insurance scheme thing. So basically, there were two ships. I never explained this properly, but there were two ships, and there was only insurance on one of them, and the other one was falling apart. So they sent the one that was falling apart as the Titanic. And when that sank, they collected the insurance money. The theory behind this is that a lot of prominent people that were supposed to be on that boat that would know about it didn't go on the Titanic. They canceled their tickets and whatnot. So that's one conspiracy theory I can believe. People do a lot of crazy things for money.
What should I ask you that I didn't know enough to ask?
We didn't really talk about being a first generation American and writing horror in a Black family, which basically means I just write a lot of books that they buy, but they will never read. So, like I have an aunt, she buys like all my books, and then she's just like, one day when you write something that's less death, I'll read it. I was just like, that's probably not gonna happen, but I'll let you know when it does. So, my family's very supportive. They buy all my books. They try and pump me up at events and whatnot. But yeah, they're all scaredy cats now, and I don't know when that happened because I remember watching Tales from the Crypt with everybody. So, and Tales from the Hood. So much so I had to hide the VHS in a drawer, so I wouldn't have to watch it again. But now everybody's scared.
That is wild that has become like that came full circle, it seems like, because your sisters denied it earlier. And
Yeah.
it's so nobody's into horror at all.
No, like my sister who showed me Candyman, I was telling her about Candyman. I was like, the new can it was during the pandemic or whatever. So I was like, the new Candyman's coming out. She was like, first of all, just said his name one too many times for me, so I'm gonna end this conversation. I was like, what? Yeah, and she's like, I'm not watching that movie, not at all. I was just like, okay. But I definitely remember specifically watching Handyman with her and watching Scream 2 with her. And I still know what you did last summer with her because we went to go see Scream 2 because she liked Jada. And we went to go see I Know What You Did Last Summer because Brandy was in it. So I specifically have a good memory about that, but denial.
If you could create a new holiday, what would it commemorate?
That's pretty easy. I would probably do two holidays. I would do the day Rod Sterling premiered the Twilight Zone. I feel like we should have a Twilight Zone holiday where they just like play it all day long. They used to do that on Sci-Fi for the New Year's, but I don't know if they still do that. And I believe Tony Todd's birthday should be a holiday. So basically for me, the two things that impact my horror journey the most, I would love to celebrate them.
The Twilight Zone holiday is seems pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
How how would you celebrate Tony Todd's birthday?
I feel like to celebrate Tony Todd's birthday, I feel like we should, watch all of his iconic movies and all of his moments. I would definitely love to hear from his family and, friends, people that really knew him well, knew his creative side. I would love to have a Tony Todd documentary one day to just, know more about the man. I feel like it's definitely a shame when you have these iconic figures and you don't learn enough about them until they pass, or they definitely don't get their flowers until they pass. So yeah, I would just love to just celebrate Tony more, watch all his movies, the Candymans, the Night of the Living Dead remake. Like, yeah, I'd love to just dive down that rabbit hole and just learn more about him. Make it a federal holiday so we could get a day off.
Hell yeah. Why create?
I feel like I create to get the voices out of my head and in turn to get the voices in other people's head talking. Like I have like thoughts and feelings and just these stories that are trapped inside of me, and I want to create them to get them out for myself, but also to just impact people. I want people to feel seen in my work. I want them to, take time to think about something, to learn something. So yeah, it's to silence the voices in my head and just wake up the ones in everybody else's.
Sylvester, thank you. Thank you very much. This was awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I mean, this was very cool. Thank you. I had a good time.
Final thoughts. Sylvester's answer to the second question says it all. Permission not necessary. If you have a book in you, write it. If you have a song on your heart, you better sing. Whatever way you use to express yourself in your art, just do that. No one is gonna save you, but the right people will join you. Thank you for joining us, whether it's your first time or this time. If you like what you heard, tell the world. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, or go to your favorite podcast app and leave a 5-star review. Either way will help more join the conversation. And until next time, see it, hear it, speak it, live.